The cold didn't just bite that night, it hunted. It crept through the empty highway, clawed at broken fences, and settled deep into the bones of a woman who had nowhere left to run. Snow fell in heavy, merciless sheets as she stumbled forward, her breath coming out in weak white clouds, each one shorter than the last. Christmas Eve was supposed to be warm lights, laughter, and family. For her, it was a frozen road, a dying phone, and the terrifying realization that if she didn't find shelter soon, she wouldn't see morning. Her name was Clara, and less than 12 hours earlier, she had believed her life, though fragile, was still hers to control. That belief shattered the moment she was thrown out of the car with a single suitcase and a warning never to call again. The city lights vanished behind her as the vehicle disappeared, leaving her standing in silence so loud it rang in her ears. She had walked until her feet went numb, until fear turned into something quieter and more dangerous: resignation. The ranch appeared like a shadow against the white horizon, wide, dark, and silent. It looked abandoned at first, just another forgotten place swallowed by winter. Clara almost kept walking, afraid of rejection, afraid of hope, but the wind howled harder, and her knees buckled. She forced herself toward the house, every step an argument with her own pride. When she reached the porch, she collapsed against the door and knocked with what little strength she had left. Inside, Ethan Cole had sworn he would ignore it. He lived alone on purpose. The ranch was big, but his world was small by design: work, animals, sleep, repeat. People brought complications. Love brought loss. Christmas Eve meant nothing to him, except another reminder of promises broken and graves filled too early. When the knock came, faint but desperate, he told himself it was just the wind. Then he heard it again, followed by a sound that wasn't the wind at all. It was a human sob, thin and shaking. Ethan opened the door to a nightmare wrapped in snow. A woman lay slumped on his porch, her face pale, her lips blue, her hair frozen in places. She looked less like a stranger and more like someone already halfway gone. He didn't think, didn't hesitate. He lifted her, carried her inside, and shut the door against the storm. Warmth came slowly. He wrapped her in blankets, placed her near the fire, and watched carefully as color returned to her cheeks. When her eyes finally fluttered open, fear filled them instantly. She tried to sit up, panic rising, until exhaustion won. She told him her name in a whisper, voice cracked and ashamed. She didn't tell him everything, not yet, just enough to explain why she was there, why no one was coming for her, why Christmas Eve had turned into a fight for survival. Ethan listened without interrupting, his face unreadable, his heart guarded. He offered her food, dry clothes, and a place to sleep for the night. Nothing more, nothing permanent. She thanked him like someone thanking fate itself, tears rolling freely now that she was safe enough to feel them. But safety was temporary, and Clara knew it. Morning light revealed the truth she'd been avoiding. Her phone was dead, her money gone, and the world outside the ranch looked even colder than before. Ethan was kind in a distant way, but his kindness had limits. She could feel it in the way he avoided her eyes, the way he kept busy, the way his house echoed with loneliness. He refused to name. When he told her she would need to leave once the roads cleared, the fear came back stronger than the night before. She nodded, pretending she understood, pretending she had a plan. But inside, something broke. She had nowhere to go. No family who wanted her. No future that didn't end in another cold night like the one she barely survived. That afternoon, while Ethan worked the barn, Clara wandered the property, watching him from a distance. He was quiet, strong, worn down by something deeper than work. The animals trusted him. The land responded to him. This wasn't a cruel man. It was a wounded one. By evening, the storm returned, worse than before. Snow trapped the ranch completely. No travel, no help. Just them and the truth they'd both been avoiding. Clara stood in the doorway as Ethan secured the house, her heart pounding louder than the wind outside. She told him she was scared, not of the storm, but of what came after. She told him about the man she'd trusted, the engagement that turned into control, the love that became a cage. She spoke about losing herself piece by piece until leaving meant having nothing at all. Her voice shook, but she didn't stop. Ethan listened again, but this time something shifted. Her pain mirrored his in ways neither of them expected. Years ago he had lost his wife in a sudden accident, on a winter road not unlike the one that almost claimed Clara. Since then, he had closed his heart, convinced love was just another way to lose everything. Clara's words cracked something open that night. Desperation did what pride never could. She begged him to let her stay, not just for the storm, not just for a few days. She offered herself in the only way she thought would make sense to a man who valued stability over emotion. She told him she would be his wife if that's what it took. Papers, name, promise, anything. As long as she didn't have to face the world alone again. The silence that followed was heavy and dangerous. Ethan felt anger, not at her, but at the world that had pushed her to this. He refused her offer immediately, harshly, wounded by the idea that marriage could be reduced to survival. But when he turned away, the image of her freezing on his porch came back, and with it, a truth he could no longer deny. She didn't need a husband. She needed a chance. Days turned into a week as the storm lingered. Clara helped around the ranch, not because she was asked, but because she wanted to feel useful, worthy. She cooked, cleaned, learned the rhythms of the land. Slowly, laughter returned to the house. So did warmth that had nothing to do with the fire. Ethan fought it. Every smile made him retreat. Every shared moment reminded him of what he'd lost. But grief doesn't disappear when ignored. It waits, patient and cruel. On Christmas morning, with snow blanketing everything in quiet white, Ethan finally broke. He told her about his wife, about the guilt, about how he believed loving again would betray the woman he lost. Clara listened the way he had listened to her, without judgment, without fear. She didn't try to fix him, she just stayed. Something healed that day, slowly and painfully, like frostbitten skin warming back to life. The offer she made was never mentioned again, but the bond between them grew into something real. Not forced, not desperate, honest. By the time spring arrived, Clara had found more than shelter. She had found herself again, stronger, independent, no longer begging to be chosen. And that was when Ethan chose her. Not out of pity, not out of fear, but out of love that had survived loss and dared to rise again. Their marriage wasn't born from desperation, but from redemption. Two broken people who met on the coldest night of the year and slowly learned that warmth isn't something you wait for, it's something you build together. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that even the coldest nights can lead to the brightest mornings, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There are more stories like this waiting to be told, stories about hope, second chances, and the courage to keep going when everything feels frozen.